Hey peeps, we're finally doing some reviews today. Some like full on reviews. I know that you guys have been waiting. It's finally happening. So we're gonna start today with my full review of Sirian Shadow's Earth and Bone Oracle. Now, I believe that I still technically have the more indie version. There is a more mass-produced version that's available on Amazon. At this point in time, this version has sold out, I believe, but I will put the artist's website down below. But there is a more mass-produced version that's available on Amazon that is not going to look like this version in my review, and I'm sorry, because I know that this version is a lot more beautiful, especially for those of us who love a dark aesthetic. But there is a more mass-produced version available. Also, Sirian is producing a new deck, and I'm just looking at the information because I want to make sure I say this right, because you can still back it on Kickstarter, which I think if you want this type of energy, you know, it's always good to support our artists. So it's a darker themed deck, and let's see what it's called. It's called the Shadow of Darkness Oracle. And I believe it's set to be produced in the autumn if all goes well. So I will also put the link to that down below too, so you can support that deck if you would like to. I am certainly giving my full support to the deck because I am obsessed with the Earth and Bone Oracle. It's so funny. I had like kind of seen it, but didn't give it any kind of serious thought until one of my students strongly recommended it to me. And then I had another student also use this deck in a reading. And I was like, I have to have this Oracle deck. And I am so glad I made the investment because this deck is really, really unique. So just brass tacks about like what to expect. Now, again, if you purchase the version that's available on Amazon right now, it is going to look different to this. And there's nothing I can do about that. I prefer this version to the current version available, so I'm not going to be purchasing that one. The box is this nice, beautiful, like matte velour. And it just says Earth and Bone Oracle on the front and the sides. I do have an unboxing, which I will also link below. We'll see if Racine remembers to add all of these links. But let me read you what the back says. Allow the Earth and Bone Oracle deck to lead you on a transformational and empowering journey. Reveal deep-rooted issues and connect with your guides. This deck contains 42 cards to bring you clarity, transformation, healing, guidance, and insight. And then about the artist and author, Sirian Shadow is a psychic energy worker and the best-selling author of Spirit Work. Again, I will put the artist's website, the link to the artist's website down below. So this is the box, and then let's not break a nail. Let's not do that. Yeah. The inside has the kind of faded skull representation, and it says, surface the shadow, ground in earth, protect with bone. So brass tacks before I start talking about the decks, I'm going to get sidetracked. There is a invaluable little white book included in here. This, I'm going to talk about it in a second. You're going to want to reference this. It's 96 pages. There are small color card reproduction and then information about the card with an affirmation at the end. The cardstock for this version is this gorgeous matte. The cardstock quality, it's nice and stiff, very similar to like Mystical Shaman Oracle, but the matte is nicer. The matte on this is nicer than Mystical Shaman. Just to give you a little compare and contrast, it's very similar in size to the Mystical Shaman. This is the back. I will say you kind of are going to want to have enjoy a dark artwork aesthetic when it comes to liking the artwork in this deck, because it's all, as the title suggests, Earth and Bone. So I personally love the artwork, but if you're more light inclined when it comes to your artwork, more romantic, softer feeling, I mean, I think it's a romantic deck, but not everyone will. This might not be the deck for you, but you know, if you're someone who likes darker artwork, then you are going to really adore the artwork in this deck. So on the card, you have the number, so you can find the card, the key title, keyword, wow, Racine, nice. The title of the card, excuse me, and then you have keywords at the bottom, which definitely are very helpful when you're acquainting yourself with the Oracle deck and the vibes of the deck itself. And I do find that the keywords that he offers here are very much in alignment with the guidebook. And so there's no like differences that show up, you know. You guys know I've talked about this a lot with like Lucy Cavendish decks, where sometimes you look at the keywords on the card and then you go to the guidebook and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's so different than what the keywords are on the card itself. You're not going to find that with this deck. So I'm going to show you some of the artwork here just while I talk about how obsessed I am with this deck. First of all, it's amazing as a clarifier. This deck likes to work with darker themed decks like Tarot of Vampires, like Murder of Crows Tarot I've used it with. I've been using this deck constantly since I purchased it, by the way, guys. So I do feel very ready to be able to speak to it. But look at how beautiful it is, even like with a manga deck. Like this is the Mystical Manga Tarot. And then look at it with that. See how complementary? The darker theme, you know, the darker feel, but it's got these beautiful kind of rich and then muted tones as well that really complement lighter themed decks well. And so I really enjoy that. It's excellent as a clarifier. The keywords are very helpful to kind of jog your intuition if you're having a question about something that's showing up within the structure of tarot. I love the wolves, the stag energy that's referenced in the artwork. The florals with the skulls, of course, is something that makes me really happy. And that I really, really love. I love that image. And, you know, Sirian is using really beautiful kind of touchstone symbols with this deck that make it very easy to be able to interpret what the meanings are. So it's great as a clarifier. And I don't want to make that seem less awesome than it really is. Like you guys know in the unboxing, I fucking love this card. But I want to talk about why I'm actually absolutely in love with this deck. Because this is like five out of 5 stars for me. This deck is like, this is one of my favorite images. This deck is like one of the reasons why you end up loving working with oracle decks. Like to me, this is one of those decks that I could point to for someone and say, you're going to go to that deck and you're going to get so much for your investment out of it. But I really want to talk about the main way that I've been using it, which I've been using it every morning as a daily draw. Now, right now I'm using it, I pull from Tarot of Vampires, I pull from Stunning Tarot, and I pull from Earth and Bone Oracle. And it's a very sexy trilogy right there. Let me just say that to you. But really powerhouse decks with very strong personalities and very strong messages for sure. So what I have found in journaling, because when I do my daily draws, I'm predominantly journaling with the pulls, you know, feeling into what's coming up for me, where I am at on my path, and what the cards are speaking to for the daily energy, right? Not only has the daily draws from this deck proven to be accurate from a divinatory perspective, but it's most powerful, in my opinion, as a personal, spiritual, exploratory oracle deck. The guidebook is freaking kick-ass, and it's actually, yes, there's a vulture there, guys, side note. It's actually a really unique oracle deck. And I want to speak to the way that things are phrased. So I am going to be doing a review of the Coastal Curiosities Oracle very soon. And I spoke in a video where I included that on a deck list, how I love the kind of feminine, winding, meandering explanations in the guidebook with that deck. It's very ephemeral and ethereal and quirky and kitschy and just gorgeous, right? This guidebook is like a straight shooter, heavy hitter, almost more of like a masculine, like, look, here it is vibe. Now, I'm not making it binary. I'm just speaking to when you experience that type of energy, how it feels. And so for me, I feel like this deck is a deck where my gods are speaking to me truthfully. And really like, just like deal with it. Come on, deal with it. Get it together. Handle your shit. Be real with yourself. Be real about the action steps on your spiritual path at this time. Stop. You know how sometimes you can like just get yourself all wrapped up around something from a thinking place? I think the guidebook that's included with this deck just really, really helps you to break free from that, to unravel that, and to get really clear. And it does so in a very succinct, almost like bullet point way, but not bullet point where you lose the meat of the information. It's actually just more like, here it is. So it's an earth, it is definitely an elemental deck. It is very based in that earthy energy. I mean, you see that constantly repeated, right? Like the roots, the structure. But I think it's also very air element in a positive way, in that the communication is very unique. It has a very, very unique communicative voice, from the cards to the guidebook itself. I think the guidebook alone is like a breath of fresh air. It's not overly wordy, as you can see here, but it really gets straight to the heart of the matter. It really speaks the truth. And I think this is a really, really special deck. I love this deck. I highly recommend it. I know that the version on Amazon right now, a lot of you have reached out to me and said, I want the one you have. I don't really like that version. If I can find, if there's an indie, if I can find that there is a way to purchase the more indie version of this deck, which is what I have, if I've been able to find that in my research before this goes up on the channel, then I'll include that link down below. But I think, yes, I understand the newer version is not this special, but I do think you're still going to get something out of that Oracle deck. And so if you can handle the borders and the way that it's set up, which I get it. I looked on Amazon after a few of you reached out to me, and I get it, not jazzed with that version. But I do think that the bones of this deck, pun intended, they're really, really special. It's a very special deck. I'm so thankful I purchased this. I'm so thankful I invested in this deck. I'm so thankful to my students who are kind of like not letting it go for me, because this is a home deck for me. This is a deck that I'm going to come back to and keep using year after year after year. It's accurate, it's insightful, you learn something new with it, but it also knows like when to leave you alone and when to let go of something. So I highly recommend this deck. My full review of this deck is, it's amazing, it's worth the investment, and it's a really special, unique Oracle deck. It is not like a throwaway deck. It's not like other decks out there. It is a very, very special deck. So if you're considering purchasing this deck, I hope this full review helps you. You guys know I am sending you, as always, so much love and many blessings. I'll have all the linky things down below. And as always, I will see you in the next video.